the reasons that they have in there to say that children should be on social media because they might want to do some dance videos, they can actually go to dance lessons.
Laura Trott, thank you for speaking to Times Radio.
Thank you so much for having me.
So today we've had some news. The government has finally published its consultation document on social media. What's your response? What's been your reaction?
Well, this is their so-called urgent consultation document, which has taken them 6 weeks to actually come up with after they made the statement in the House. And the problem that I have with this is not a document which is saying how do they implement a social media ban for under 16s. It's whether they do one at all. And I'm sorry, the minister standing up and saying they will act decisively once they've decided what to do is absolutely preposterous, and it does not meet the scale of the challenge that we need to right now. Because I did a press conference with Kemi last week with bereaved parents whose children have lost their lives due to social media, and their group is growing every single week. This is not a danger which is just posed to children who already have problems. This is a danger to every child up and down the country, because if people saw what was on these social media feeds, they'd be out protesting in the streets. It's not what you and I see, Anna, when we go on Instagram. If you're a boy, it is violent content, it's pornography, it's drugs. If you're a girl, it is content that makes you hate yourself. This is an absolute outrage. It is a burning platform for us to do something. And that is why I'm trying so urgently to get the government to act, not consult, act, and to get children off social media.
And we just looked at this briefly, this consultation, before speaking. What stands out to you? What are the things that...
Yeah, well, we were just looking, weren't we, Anna, because as you said, this has just been launched today. And the reasons that they have in there to say that children should be on social media because they might want to do some dance videos, they can actually go to dance lessons. What this does is completely underestimate the very real dangers that are lurking for children when they join social media. The danger that they will be approached by a stranger, the danger that they will be sex assaulted, the danger that they will be offered drugs, they will see violence, they will see pornography, they may harm themselves. These are very real documented dangers that we have too much evidence of. Too much real world harm has taken place. And if this was anything else that children used regularly and properly and it harmed this many children, it would be withdrawn from the market immediately. That is what we need to do with social media, not produce a consultation that doesn't have a clear view on what should happen and then just talks about, oh, it's nice for children to do dance videos. Children are dying as a result of this. The government needs to wake up.
And I remember speaking to some teachers a couple of months ago who said that social media in the long term will be seen as one of these giant social experiments, as dangerous as cigarettes were back in the day.
Absolutely.
Do you agree with that?
Of course I do. That is why I have campaigned every single day, ever since we've introduced this amendment to the schools bill, because we have an opportunity to act now. We can stop this. For parents up and down the country who are watching this, things do not have to be this way. We can make things better. I know how many of them are desperately worried about their children, about what to see, what they are looking at online, how to help them. They want government to step in. And I see my job in opposition is giving voice to them, to helping them, help their families, help their young children, help protect them from these dangers that we see online. And that is why I'm pushing so hard for this vote, which is coming up in the House of Commons next week on the 9th of March. And I really do believe that there will be some brave Labour MPs who will stand up for parents and young people in their constituencies and vote to get children off social media.
Well, the government today is saying that it will push back that vote and throw it back to the Lords. So they're trying to vote it down.
Which is fundamentally wrong.
Do you think this consultation, do you think that's what's really going on here? Is this an attempt to placate Labour MPs on this issue?
It's an attempt to delay action. That is so obvious. As I said, the Minister was very clear when she was in the House of Commons. She said, we will be decisive once we've decided what to do. They haven't decided what to do. We have a legislative vehicle in front of us which would get children off social media. Not next year, not the year after that. We could legislate for it right now. And that is what we need to do, because that is the scale of the problem that we have, the urgency that we need to see from the government, and we are not seeing that at the moment.
And with Australia, which has been leading the way in banning social media for under 16s. What's the reaction been there? How's that gone down?
Well, Australia has shown that this can be done. Now, we know any ban will not be perfect. The alcohol ban that we have in this country is not perfect, ditto the cigarette ban. But we have them in place because we want to protect children, and we know it will deter the majority, and it will also send a really strong signal that social media is dangerous to young people. So we know from Australia it can be done, it should be done here.
And what has the reaction from social media companies been there?
Well, I think there was all kind of fire and fury in the build up to it, but actually when it's come to it, they've complied. It seems to be working relatively well. We can obviously learn lessons from the implementation over there, but as I said, this has proved that it can be done, and we now should do it here.
And we've been speaking last week about so-called school wars. So this campaign that's gone round London schools on social media, where children are being encouraged to bring in weapons to schools, knives, compasses, scissors, and the police mounted a special operation. Schools have been sending children early as a result. It's massively worried parents of those children. What's your view of that? And when you see something like that, what's your reaction?
What better example, Anna, of the real world dangers that are posed to children from social media? It is absolutely appalling that any child is forced to go home early from school because they are frightened. And my heart goes out to all the parents that are dealing with this, and they shouldn't have to be dealing with this. This is totally avoidable. This doesn't have to happen. We can get rid of this all tomorrow by getting children off social media. And when you see exactly what is happening here, how can you possibly think, just because some children enjoy doing dances on TikTok, that we should expose all the other children to violence and real world harm? It is utterly wrong. And I am on the side of parents, I am on the side of young people who want this too, and I want to keep them safe, and that's why I want to get them off social media.
Because the social media companies will say, well, it's against our policy to have violent content, we remove it when it happens. And in fact, last week, that was Liz Kendall's response, that the social media companies were removing that content. But what parents say is, why are they allowing it up in the first place, and they're waiting too long to remove it? What's your view? Should it be about allowing social media companies to be in charge of, do you trust them to police these things anymore?
Well, we've tried to police content, and frankly that just hasn't worked for young people. And I think a much better and more effective way of policing what's happening on social media is to police age. Because then we know that no children are on the platform, and therefore the belated attempts to take some of this content down, which has been happening, won't have such damaging consequences.
And do you think the government is tough enough on social media companies in this?
Not by a long shot. Honestly, I just think they must be in the pocket of tech bros, because I cannot see any other reason why they would not act to protect children from the very real dangers that we've seen play out on social media.
And obviously, some critics will say the Conservatives were in government until recently, didn't take action on this. There were already parents who were concerned back then.
So, I mean, we saw Snap, Instagram, the real growth in those with the kind of selfie cameras in 2015, 2016. And at the time, we acted. We've got the Online Safety Act, which is in place, which, as we discussed earlier, is policing some content. It has been successful in, for example, reducing the number of young people going onto pornography sites. That is a positive thing. However, it has not worked for social media. I think we can definitively say that now. We need to take further action. There are real dangers. And so the next step, given policing content has not worked, is to now police age. We know that is effective. There are clear precedents for it, and it's absolutely what we need to do.
And what's your concern if this isn't implemented fast or at all? What's your concern for these children growing up now, for teenagers?
Every single parent up and down the country knows how worrying this is. Childhood is being robbed as a result of these devices. They take away children's innocence, they take the opportunity costs, they're not reading. It's bad for their physical health too, because they're looking at the phones. So many children, more children, are now short-sighted than before. And there are very real dangers and harms. And all those things are playing out every single day in schools and at home, up and down the country, and parents are crying out for help. I want to help them. I want the government to realise how urgent this is.
And you're a parent yourself. I think your eldest is 9.
Yeah.
Is this something that has affected you yet, or is it just something you're worried and thinking about for years ahead?
I think there's a real move amongst parents of children of my daughter's age, because they now don't want for their children what they've seen play out for teenagers. And it's for that reason that I am so passionate about trying to get the government to move on this, because I know how much parents want this. I know how worried they are. I know how scared they are for their child, and the possibility that is going to be taken away from these young people of a childhood which is not infected by violence and viciousness online, where they're put in danger by being on social media. We can protect them from all of that if we act, and that's why I really want to.
And obviously right now we've got so much going on in the world. Also we had, even before that, Keir Starmer's government is fighting fires on multiple fronts. Are you worried that this will effectively just be pushed to the sidelines?
Well, that's why I'm so grateful that you're covering it, Anna, and that Times Radio is covering this, because this is such an important issue to parents. And throughout everything that's going on in the world, we mustn't lose our domestic focus. We must continue to make things better for young people in this country. And this is part of our overall plan, New Deal for Young People, because we recognise that things aren't as they should be right now. And we want to restore childhood to being childhood, and make sure that when you leave school, it's a time of opportunity for you, which you can be excited about. And that's what all our policies are orientated towards.
Are you happy yourself that social media didn't exist when you were growing up?
So happy. Oh God, it's just horrendous. Honestly, I think so many people who question this policy just haven't seen what young people are seeing. And if they saw how miserable it is, honestly, it's so miserable, then they would act, and they would try and make the government act. Because we know about 7% of boys actually go looking for violent content online, yet over 70% of them have seen it, because the algorithm serves it to you. Because there'll be parents listening to this and thinking, oh, you know, little Alfie would never look for pornography online. They're not looking for it, it's just being served up to them. This is not something that they're asking for, it's what the algorithm delivers to them. It is so utterly wrong, and it's so ruinous, and I hate that young people are having to go through this now, and I want to change that. And it's so interesting, even when you just talk about phones being taken out of schools, which is another thing that we're trying to get done. When I talk to young people in schools where phones have been taken away, the overriding emotion is relief. It's just, they don't have to answer all those messages. They don't have to look at their phone all the time. They don't need to worry about their streak or upholding this, that or the other. They can be free to talk to their friends, go and play, read a book, do something else. It's just revolutionary for them. And we can do this. Like, this is a policy which can be done. It doesn't cost any money. The government can just get on with it, and it will make children's lives up and down the country better. It will make parents relax in a way which would just be so much better for them and their family. This is the answer. We can do this. I just desperately want the government to do it.
Laura Trott, thank you for speaking to Times Radio.